Elish, A Babylonian Creation Myth by Brian Eddings. Question: What impact has Enuma Elish, the Babylonian creation story, had on early Mesopotamia, and how has the story traveled throughout world literature? Overview 1. Enuma Elish is a creation story that mirrors the Judeo-Christian creation. It begins with two gods of water who create the universe: Apsu, father god of fresh water, and Tiamat, mother goddess of salt water, who often appears as a dragon. After they create the universe, they make creatures, demons, monsters, and godkin. When Apsu becomes angered by their creation's chaos, Tiamat agrees that the creation must be stopped, so Apsu prepares to destroy them. Ina, an earth-water god, kills Apsu in a great battle, and Tiamat, enraged, gathers her forces to enact revenge. Overview 2. Marduk, a grandson of Apsu, is chosen champion of Godkin. He agrees to be such in exchange for immortality and kingship over all the other gods. The gods agree when Marduk completes their trial, and he's equipped with powerful weaponry. When Marduk defeats Tiamat and her army, he is properly granted his wishes. Marduk then, with Tiamat's torn body, creates a firmament between the heavens and earth, and places the gods and goddesses in the stars to perform various tasks. Soon the gods are displeased and burdened with their duties, so Marduk creates mankind with the blood of Kingu, former general of Tiamat's fallen army. This pleases the gods, and mankind will forever serve and do their bidding. Context: Enuma Elish is a polytheistic creation, meaning that unlike the Judeo-Christian Hindu-Muslim religions, which begin with a single creator, Enuma Elish begins with many. Enuma Elish is also a prehistoric myth, meaning it was around before writing was created. Enuma Elish may have entered the stream of biblical tradition in the later half of the second millennia, without taking final shape until a number of centuries later. It appears very likely that the verbal renditions of the myth cycled throughout the Mesopotamia region until they were written down on tablets much later. Austin Henry Layard recovered the cuneiform text in 1849, and the tablets in fragmentary form remained in the ruined library of Aşşurbanipal, Iraq, and were first published by George Smith in 1876. Enuma Elish, like many other myths, was probably told during times of crisis. There is no doubt that the creation story myth shares a similar purpose among the Babylonians as the Genesis story does around Judeo-Christians today. In identical fashion, as Israel in exile would have turned to God for help, many Babylonians would in the same way presumably turn to their gods during crisis. Enuma Elish and Genesis 1 both share in creation stories that explains the gods of each religion and the purpose of man. Enuma Elish has heavily influenced Genesis. Archaeologist, historian, and author Wilford George Lambert has been quoted saying, "While the borrowing may have been something altogether more involved and complex than we have suggested, all the known facts favor the idea that the tradition moved westward during the Amarna period and reached the Hebrews in oral form." The identical list of order of events which can be made from Enuma Elish and Genesis 1 show clearly that the author of Genesis were at least capable of reading out mythological narratives in Enuma Elish, certain basic events or principles within the text. They saw the features which were essential and picked out to establish the basic pillars of their own account. Enuma Elish was a myth designed to explain life. Many times an unclear line can be drawn between science and religion. This blur is well known throughout history, religion, and science, and they were often blended in ancient world and could not be easily separated. In such issues as cosmology and origins of man, about which so little is known even today, both Babylonians and Judeo-Christian lore did the best that they could. Myth became the solution when knowledge is lacking, and when there is simply no other way to get the answers that are necessary. Conclusion. In conclusion, the impact that Enuma Elish has had on early Mesopotamia is tremendous. The myth has transcended its original purpose of fostering the imaginations of an era without explanation, and has helped to create the structure of origins for many religions that followed. Although the myth itself was lost to time, its revival has helped confirm a better understanding of religions that remain today. Enuma Elish is a myth of creation, great battles, death, and a new life with new creations, and has a rare accomplishment of influencing one of the most important texts of Western literature.